So by now you've probably heard about the carnage in Melbourne that occurred on Friday, resulting in the deaths of 5 people. 37 others injured during the incident have been treated at hospital, 4 of which remain in critical condition. Now in the aftermath, as usual, there's a lot of finger pointing. For example, some allege that the police should have intervened earlier, others that the bail system is too lenient, and some think the perpetrator was a radicalised Muslim. Now, I don't know what the answers are to any of those claims, but I do have a few questions. Just before 2 p.m. on Friday, 26-year-old Demetrius Gargasoulis deliberately drove his car into pedestrians in Melbourne's Burke Street Mall. The assailant was shot in the arm and arrested after his car was rammed by police, and he's under guard at Melbourne St Vincent Hospital in a non-critical condition. So let's go over the timeline here. Police believe Gargasoulis had been on a criminal rampage since about 2 a.m. when he is accused of critically stabbing his brother outside their public housing flat in Windsor. Police Commissioner Ashton said police made several attempts to arrest him throughout the day, but the 26-year-old kept evading them on his erratic journey across town and back. At 11:45 a.m, police armed with guns and tasers tried to pull him over on the Bolt Bridge, but aborted their pursuit because his driving was too dangerous. Police say a woman who may have been hostage in Gargasoulis' car, I assume that's supposed to be, jumped out of the moving vehicle. The vehicle was next seen at Flinders Street Station before turning left into the pedestrian mall on Burke Street and mowing down pedestrians. Now, from the Bolt Bridge to Flinders Street Station is about 5 kilometres, and here we get to see some footage of Gargasoulis doing donuts and yelling at bystanders.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah.
Oh! Get off the road, you idiot.
Sorry.
Shoot the prick. Okay, the cops come. I like the idea that he's got his...
And there's a witness account that has gotten a lot of attention.
And also, he was watching the people, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, eating steering and waiting the police. You know, that...
So this guy is obviously not a native speaker, but it's obvious what he's saying there. And notice he slaps the car, so I assume he's talking about this, where Gargasoulis looks to be slapping the car and yelling. Now, some have concluded on this account alone that Gargasoulis is an Islamic terrorist, but given that no other witnesses have come forward to corroborate that story, and the often unreliable nature of eyewitness testimony, or in this case, ear-witness testimony, I think you have to suspend judgment on that one. But then this was found on Gargasoulis' Facebook page. Yazdanism, Google it, Wikipedia, and that is who I am. I am not Greek Tongan, I am actually Greek Islamic Kurdish, angel of Kult, I promise, and I hold a lot of answers. So on his suggestion, I did Wikipedia it, and sure enough, Yazdanism, or the Cult of Angels, is a pre-Islamic native religion of the Kurds. Now, I'm not going to get into the origin of this cult or pretend I know anything about it, so I'll leave a link below if you want to look into it further. But then this post appeared on his Facebook page 4 days earlier, which is even more incoherent, but with some interesting pieces, such as this. Keep in mind, good will always prevail over evil, and that is exactly what's to come in the following days, weeks, and so forth. Somebody tried to fuck me. Well, that someone is about to find out how to do it properly, and one thing, I'll take you all out. Just me. You need an army to take me, and so far you have presented half a army. Army of useless. Wait until you see mine. Then on the 14th of January, one day after his Angel of Kult post, he has a go at Scientology. And on the same day, he issued this warning. I know exactly how to take you dogs down. The power of knowing has revealed, and I shall have God's laws reinstated. So this guy is clearly out of his gourd, given his barely coherent ramblings. But what did the police say about any links to terrorism?
Details are still emerging, but as I can say, we believe it was connected with the early incident in Windsor this morning, and we do believe that this is not a CT-related incident.
Are police looking for anyone else to arrest?
No, we are not. There is no one outstanding. There is no ongoing threat to the public.
So the police were unequivocal that this was not terrorism related, and in a relatively short period of time. This psycho acted alone, and no terrorist organisation has tried to claim credit. And fair enough, I'm sure more details will become available as they interview him, but I think it would be interesting to know what his browsing history looked like. Had he been watching any rogue trucks plough through crowds for motivation? What are his religious affiliations, if any, in the wider community? Perhaps the police already have all that kind of information, and hopefully they'll share it in the coming days. Police Commissioner Graham Ashton said Gargasoulis was well known to police, particularly in recent days in relation to assaults, and was charged last weekend. What we do know of the person is there is an extensive family violence history involved, Mr. Ashton told reporters. We have mental health and drug-related issues in the background of this particular person. But despite having mental issues, the Victoria Police Commissioner was adamant that he would be charged with murder. He said police were waiting for medical clearance to interview and charge him. Asked if Gargasoulis would be charged with murder, he said, absolutely, multiple counts. Now, a lot of the media focus is around the notion that it appears to be too easy to get bail for offenders in Victoria. Gargasoulis was released by a bail justice on January 14, despite police wanting him remanded over an alleged assault. The Police Association wants Victoria's system of bail justices replaced by on-call magistrates. The Police Commissioner vented frustration at the bail laws, and Mr. Andrews flagged charges to the criminal justice system, saying no expense would be spared. Under the state's unique bail system, volunteer bail justices are able to release people charged with criminal offences if a magistrate's court is not in session. Bail decisions are made by designated police officers or magistrates in all other states and territories. Mr. Andrews said he shared Victorians' frustration with the latest apparent failure of the system, which comes only a few years after reforms prompted by multiple murders committed by men on bail and parole. If changes are needed to be made, then they should be, and be in no doubt they will be, Mr. Andrews said. Victorian Police Association Secretary Ron Iddles said officers had repeatedly expressed frustration that many bail justices did not appear to know the Bail Act. Mr. Iddles, regarded as one of Victoria's best former homicide detectives, said the police union had requested changes to bail laws for more than a year. We have members come in and say, we have got offenders being granted bail multiple times and they keep re-offending, Mr. Iddles said. Part of the issue is we have been doing justice on the cheap. While bail justices fill a void, I think it's time to look at that whole system. I should say so. And to add another issue to this mess, State Coroner Sarah Hinchy's investigation into the Burke Street attack will also include a review of police pursuit policy. Victoria Police implemented strict restrictions on pursuits in 2015, requiring officers to call off a chase if excessive speeds were involved or if they believed the community was at risk. Mr. Ashton denied reports police were refused permission to ram Mr. Gargasoulis' car during an early chase on Friday, and said police made several unsuccessful attempts to intercept the vehicle. Mr. Ashton said he was rock solid behind the decisions his officers made. I'm satisfied from my perspective, I emphasise my perspective, all decisions that our officers made were in the interests of trying to provide community safety. I'm confident in that. He welcomed the coronial inquiry if it led to an improvement in the way police serve the community. You have to have some sympathy for the police here. They were overruled on their application to deny bail, and then they're hamstrung by new pursuit laws. And in some ways, they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. You can imagine if they shot this guy on the bridge before he got to the city. There would have been cries from the do-gooders that the man was denied his day in court, that he was singled out because he was a member of a minority community and he was just mentally ill. But no doubt in the coming days and weeks we'll find out more, including hopefully this psychotic asshole's motivations for mowing down innocent bystanders.